started with our city council. Y'all ready, guys? Our city council work session today is Monday, July 22nd, 2024. Welcome, everybody. Let's see. First on the agenda is committee updates.
Right. Start off, Council President.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. Airport Authority has met since our last meeting. We voted to enter negotiations with the person for the operation of the FBO on the east side. Everything looks to be good. We'll probably have a new FBO operator in place by September 1. Is that right? Or October 1? I'm sorry, October 1. Yeah, first of the fiscal year. And, you know, we got a lot going on down at the airport. We've got some new hangars that have been finished up, some very large hangars, in fact, some pretty nice investments into the airport. We're looking into how we can add another road over there on the east side. It's planned, but, you know, and we've been really thankful to the city for all that they've done with the city of Fairhope. And as I've mentioned it here before, we're looking at ways to, now I've got my airport authority hat on, to transfer that land on the west side back to city of Fairhope. So, and that would come with some monetary compensation to kind of claw back some of the money that the city has invested in that, and they will continue to share in that cost for the next several years. But I know we've got the grant to build the road on the west side and make the improvements on the west side. So I think that we have a really, really good opportunity to make a nice light industrial park on the west side, and especially if we can acquire the private drive that's down that way and have access off the 4-lane going into a nice industrial let me emphasize light industrial park. I think that'll pay big dividends for the city of Fairhope and the surrounding area. The rec board met on this past last week. Thanked everybody for passing the 5-year strategic plan. Wanted to thank the council and the mayor for that. We've got a couple of openings that we're looking to fill, and we had to change some of our rules as far as allowances for people to be on the rec board. It said that you must live within the planning jurisdiction, and that used to be the same as the police jurisdiction. And now that we've pulled the planning jurisdiction back, or been forced to pull the planning jurisdiction back to the municipal limits, it eliminated some of the people that are actually on the board and any future people that might live in the old planning jurisdiction, which is still the police jurisdiction, from serving. So we had to modify our rules and regulations on that. Tonight, I did attend the Harbor Board meeting for Councilman Boone, and tonight on the agenda item 23 is a resolution to amend the rules and regulations for the Fairhope docks. And Council President, I ask that when we get through with all the committee updates and department head updates, that we go back to item 23 and maybe review that tonight before we vote on that, just to make sure that we're ready for that. You know, that there's a possibility we might want to table it, or we might just make sure we have it where we need it.
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, we'll get with council and see where we are. We'll involve Marcus McDowell.
Committee updates.
All right, thank you, Councilman Burrell.
Let's see. Guess my update would be the library board is scheduled to next meet August 19th at 4 p.m. That's a Monday. Most recent updates in the APLS, Alabama Public Library System, had policy updates that went effective July 17th, so a couple days ago. And basically, the policy updates are requiring library boards to update their policies related to certain materials, and the library board, the APLS, will begin accepting revised policies on September 1st of '24. And in order to be eligible for your 2025 state aid, you have to have those submitted by June 30th of 2025. So about 10 and a half months or 11 and a half months. And then in order to be eligible for 2025 LSTA competitive grants, you've got till December of '25 to get those submitted. So library board wants to comply, I believe, with state policy, so they'll be working on making those revisions, but not going to be ready, I don't expect, by the September 1st, very first date.
So they are working on those.
I think that's the plan of discussion on the Monday, August 19th meeting.
Very good, very good.
I do not have any update.
Thank you, Councilman Burrell took my cover for me. I appreciate that.
All right. I did visit the rec board meeting, and Council Burrell covered that. Another thing, there's a couple of things that we have to get resolved with some partnership and some community things with the swimming, but I think we can do that. The Fairhope Environmental Advisory Board met, and I thought it was very interesting. One of the things that they're putting together is a sustainable waste management practice, and they're involving the kids in FEEF and Hope Community in the community. I think composting is a part of all that, and that's a good deal as we move forward with these kids, because we got to figure out what we're going to do with all the trash in the land. I know that sounds real simple, but it's as we keep living this, it could be a problem. So I appreciate that and the work that they're doing for that. All right, that's all I have. Let's see. All right, department head updates, guys. I'll try to move through this.
John, if you don't mind, can you go to the agenda slides? Okay. We do have an amendment for the medical overlay district. This was prompted by the dishes of Thomas Hospital. So if y'all don't mind, we can go through that, maybe not have to debate it too much during the meeting. Councilman Robinson sits on our planning commission, his lucky term. And Councilman Burrell, we talked about many ways to accomplish our goals with this medical overlay district amendment of the zoning ordinance, including defining hospital beds, everything else. But I want to highlight on the screen, Thomas Hospital is explicitly stated in our existing medical overlay district. So we played on that language, and I'll come back to this if we need to. We made one amendment proposed in red. The Planning Commission had a minor adjustment that I think was a better wording, and that is in front of you tonight. This is the public hearing. Obviously, we'll formalize that unless you take immediate action. But in essence, we're recognizing the existing medical center, Thomas Hospital, contains buildings that were in place before the zoning ordinance as it stands, and much less the medical overlay district. So any additions to that 24-hour medical care can meet the height and setback requirements of the existing buildings, not B4. B4 was in the medical overlay district, everything within the building, a medical overlay district has to meet the dimensional standards of B4 regardless of the underlying zoning. So I think this text in blue accommodates that without opening the door for other properties within the medical overlay district, as well as some of Thomas Hospital's other properties that are not associated with medical care, the ancillary buildings and things like that. I think this was a simpler, and as you discovered on the recent one, we sat and debated something for 2 hours and had 2 pages, and we finally got down, we could narrow it down to one sentence. And I think this is while it's just one paragraph, it was the evolution of lots of conversations. So I don't know if you had a chance to read this one paragraph, or if this, we need to debate it anymore. Certainly be happy to, if I need to explain any thoughts on this language.
So, Hunter, are you asking us to debate whether we would allow the existing medical center to have different rules for buildings as long as they fall up under the obstetrical, surgical, and psychiatric. And then, but the other ancillary buildings are not allowed to do.
Right.
Are not exempt.
We've already approved
that
the
what we're
site
saying?
plan
Right.
condition on this amendment.
Gotcha.
Because they're different applications, they have a different timeline to get in front of you. This has to be advertised, takes a lot longer. So this is the corresponding amendment that essentially allows them to build the new hospital tower. But we'll apply to anything else they do, but this, I believe, is the last building on Ingleside. Otherwise, Ingleside across their property is built out adjacent to as far as the setback goes, I think this will be the last one we deal with, and the height, if
Right.
it's addition tower, certainly. With the intent of amending after comp plan and all that, re-looking at the medical overlay district in its totality.
Very good.
Okay.
Council, do you have any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Also on, and I think I know the resolution number 7, for the acceptance of the public improvements for Planters Point subdivision. There's a corresponding cooperative maintenance agreement on that one. We did not get in time for the packet. I believe the appropriate answer is laying this over. We were waiting, we don't have the original signatures, so the wet signatures for that agreement were not delivered to us. We got the digital 3 weeks ago. Don't have the original. I think they need to be included in the same resolution or at least on the same agenda for approval. If you want to consider laying that over to the next meeting, we should have the cooperative maintenance agreement signed and to Lisa to get in your
I don't have
packets.
a problem with that, guys. Anybody have a problem with that? Yeah. So we'll just, we'll remove number 7.
That'd be great.
From the agenda today. I'll make amendment to the agenda.
Okay.
Remove number 7.
Thank you.
Got one item on the agenda this evening, number 25, just a routine renewal of the mail machine lease agreement. It's good for 3 years and it's up for renewal this year. Any questions?
Was this budgeted?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. This is the one with the 6,000 each year. That's a cumulative of 3 years, I remember. Yep, it's budgeted for, yep. And we got 7,000 on the books for it for next year. Got it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple little updates before I get into the agenda items that I can discuss. I think we're all excited. Flying Creek Nature Preserve, let me tell you what's going on. L&K Construction started on the pedestrian tunnel today. Vanner's Drive will be closed for approximately 60 days. We expect to see S.C. Stagner, who's doing the larger park project on the 70-plus acre tract to the north, mobilized probably by this time next week. And we had our pre-bid for the Nature Center remodel of the old Dias Homestead. I think we had 10 general contractors in attendance. That's always a good sign that we're going to see a competitive bid. You will see that bid the next time that we gather together in council meeting. So we're excited that things are happening there. I think it's obvious to all that section street paving is underway, and knock on wood, it's gone very smoothly, and we haven't hurt anybody's feelings at night paving, and they're doing a good job. So hopefully tonight, they will get the lane that's still remaining milled out, and tomorrow night, weather permitting, they'll get asphalt down. So they have been very efficient in that work. Probably one that we've talked about off and on forever, but we are closing out Southland Place ADA compliance project. The project that I worried about for 5 years of being really difficult has gone about as smoothly as it could have. It's under budget. The contractor did a very good job, and our neighbors out there have been very pleased, to the point that they even set up tents and cooked hamburgers for all the contractors and engineers that were working out there, so they were appreciative of that. Pine Street, one-way and on-street parking project has got off to a real fast start and kind of has ground to a halt. Good news, it's been open, the parking's been available to our citizens and visitors, but hopefully we'll get a hard push on that and get that finished. Really, the remaining activities are to mill out that street, resurface it, and then some of the decorative things, getting the tree gates in, trees planted, and unfortunately, the nice lights that Ben have procured for this project are a very long lead time. So we'll see lights maybe installed in the late fall. So that's going well. Also, just to kind of give you a primer, we are very, very close to having project authorization on the roundabout at the Flower Clock. That's North Section Street at Veterans Triangle and Scenic 98. I'm expecting that within the next 30 days, which means we'll be authorized to go to bid, which means you could very well be considering awarding a bid possibly as early the first meeting in September. So a lot of things are going on. And then kind of following on that, we have item 11 I can discuss. That is the recommendation to select Adam Stewart Architects as the architect for the FEMA Safe Room. I will tell you that when you look at the evaluation sheets, we had 4 very good firms apply, and this is a qualified base evaluation. Adam Stewart's just unfortunately has built most of the safe rooms
Yes.
in the state of Alabama. And
I saw that.
for architects that had 1 or 2 safe rooms under the belt, Adam Stewart had 11 times that number as well. So we are recommending them to do that, and they are experienced in the FEMA 361 regulations that's involved that. Item number 12, another one that is becoming a reality. And y'all probably saying, hadn't we already done this? Well, the first time was our intent to award the contract, subject to, well, we have met the requirements of Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, as well as U.S. Treasury, and they said, now it's official, award the contract, and we're asking you to take that action once and for all and to kick that project off, which means probably in the next 2 weeks we'll be having pre-construction and we'll be able to report back to you a start date. And that's going to be, as you know, a very large project that has many components to it. Item number 13, and this is a request to award an amendment to the contract with Thompson Engineering on the park project for the pedestrian tunnel. And I'll tell you, Purchase and I have had this conversation. It's not unusual for a design firm to provide us a scope of work, and then they may have exceptions in there, such as construction material testing, which this is.
That's what the CMT
And I think one thing we're gonna ask them, that even though the project may never ever come to fruition, we want you to price that up front so that when you guys award a contract, you know what that is. Your feelings would never be hurt if we came back and says, well, it turned out that we didn't need to spend that money, as opposed to coming back kind of late in the contract and saying, hey, we need to add this. But this is for that construction material testing for the pedestrian tunnel. And yes, I think it is warranted that when you're building a structure under a road that people are going to walk through, you want to have a surety that the material that is used to construct it meets the specifications of the design. And we're going to talk with Aaron Wolf, our purchasing, and we're going to ask for them to, on the front end, put a number to that so that when we come to you to award a contract, it covers everything that could be, and it would be better to find out later that you don't need it than to have to come ask for it kind of late in the game.
Okay.
On number 14, we are requesting you to issue a contract to Christian Preuss landscape architect to do visionary design and help us with budgeting for the next budget year on the small pocket park next to Julwin's. And the reason that there is a request for a transfer is we budgeted this money and it got put in landscape because this was a landscape capital project, but it's for the professional services. So Kim says that we need to put the money in the right bucket to spend it out of, since this is using an architect and it is a professional service. So that's the nature of the transfer. But it was budgeted. It was just put in the wrong place in the budget. It was living in the landscape. And then finally, item number 15, I am requesting a change order for our Ingleside Drainage Repair Improvement Project. I'll just tell you that during the pre-bid, there was some questions about some of the work to be done, and there was an addendum sent out before the bids came in, and that bid covered the milling as part of a subsidiary obligation of the paving. And when the addendum got published, that was omitted. So the contractor that won the bid did not include that work in his price, and it was clear that we made the mistake on our end. So we're asking for that change order for the milling. And we had originally specified all of it to be seed and mulch, but with the rain that we've had, we do want to go ahead and be able to cover the $825 from some solid sodding, just to make sure that we have a good BMP in there to finish it out. And that change order is 100% on our end. It was not something that the contractor did wrong or something that wasn't considered. It was just a failure in the addendum to keep that note in there as that being a requirement of the price of the asphalt. Thus, the contractors did not bid it that way. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Richard, you didn't mention 9 and 10 of those numbers.
I'm not sure. I think Kim understands what that's about. I'm in favor of it, whatever it is, so.
This is going to be some new guidance from FEMA, and so it's to make sure that we have the proper language in the contract for whenever a storm hits. This will be the company that will be helping us with our project worksheets and helping us gather all the cost associated with any disaster. So we have 2 contracts, one that's going to be for general government and one that's for the utilities.
So this is not something that, if you don't have a disaster, it wouldn't even be enacted.
No.
You're just taking $500,000 in case we have a
In case we have a salary.
$20 million, I'm just making up a number,
That's right.
$20 million disaster, and it costs that much to manage it.
That's correct. It's reimbursable. It's reimbursable at 100%.
It's
This
all
is what's called a Cat Z management cost, and so it's reimbursable by FEMA at 100%, so it's no state share or anything on
Have we
that.
had this in the past?
Yes, we have. Yes.
What is the difference between 9 and 10?
One is going to be what I have for general government and one for utilities. So
Oh,
when we
so
put
you
it out for
separate
bid,
those.
yeah, I wanted a company that could specialize in the utilities and a company that could specialize in like debris,
Yeah, we
overseeing
talked
debris.
about this. We got into, remember when Sally hit and our administration had to go through all the paperwork to get everything straightened in line in order to get our money back? And Kim came back and said, hey, I would like to do these things and separate. So she's brought this to us before.
Yeah.
And here we are.
It's just some
So-
new guidelines that has came from FEMA, and so Royal reached out to us with the amendments to make sure these documents or our contract is in line with FEMA guidelines.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what you
You have any
Very good.
questions?
No, ma'am, thank you. All right. Very good, guys. Keep it moving. Very good.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Brother Ladd.
I have one item on the agenda, that is agenda item number 22. The installation of the fit court. The slab is poured, the equipment is here. We just need to hire the company that has a sole source letter to install their own equipment for $25,000. And because the whole project is over $100,000 is why I'm here, asking for your permission.
So so we're not doing it in-house, someone's coming down
That is correct.
from National
yes.
Institute of Fitness, NIF, whatever.
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All right, very good, very good. Okay.
And just for the record, when you say install, you don't mean down by the pier, you mean,
No, the slab is already poured at the Mike Ford Tennis Center.
Oh, say that a little
It
louder.
is.
Where was it poured?
It's poured on the west side of the tennis center.
Okay.
Basically, it'd be considered, I guess, the southwest corner of the property.
Well, I guess Jay will have a place to
Yeah.
sleep and Jimmy will have a place to sleep. So thank you for saving their lives.
There's a little bit of curve, so you might be able to get out of the rain there, too. So.
Yeah, right.
Anything else?
No questions. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hey, Ms. Crawford.
Yes, I have 24.
Oh, boy.
We have our annual LED Christmas lights coming to you. You will notice it is going to be somewhat over budget, and I will do a little bit of explaining. In years past, we've done partial orders, so if we have any on the shelves, we'll go ahead and use those every year, so we'll only have to order, say, 6,500 strands of lights or 5,000 lights. Well, last year, we quoted out the lights, and we went with a cheaper product, and I have the electric department here because we asked them before ordering any lights this year, and they said we had to redo a lot of lights last year. So the cheaper product that we went with, obviously, didn't pan out. We had to redo, been estimating about half of our tree lights before Arts and Crafts and Mardi Gras. So we're wanting to go back to the buying group, which we did 2 years ago and have done, probably 10 years prior to that. So that's why you'll see that there. We're going to be buying that through the Omnia buying group. But there are also some years where we'll buy it'll straddle that budget line, so sometimes we'll buy lights in one budget year, or they'll be received in the next budget year. So in 25's budget, you will see an increased cost that's more like that number that you see on the agenda tonight. But just wanted to clarify that in case y'all had any questions.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
First thing that I noticed is that, we're wrapping, and when we wrap these trees, we're wrapping every twig on some of these trees, it seems like. It just seems like it looks great, don't get me wrong, it looks fantastic, but do we really need that type of density of lights on every tree? It is,
Yes.
I can't imagine
Yes.
sitting here and having to wrap it on every limb on a tree.
Well,
Absolutely.
and I'll also say
want a
that
brown tree.
10,000 strands is probably an overshot, but we have gone back and replaced some trees, so we're probably going to have a little bit of a cushion for next year's buying, I will say, because some of those trees that y'all will see, obviously got replaced within the last year. So we're probably overbuying just to make sure we have enough, but it's always better to have the same lights. If we were to wait, say, and only order, 6,000 strands, we get closer to Christmas time and we realize we need more, maybe we're not able to buy them, they're out of stock, so we always want to make sure we have enough. And Ben, we're thinking that number is going to get us to where we need, correct? Should be.
Which is my next question. Where are they going? Where do they, from where to where? Where are they in? Because I had a lot of complaints from the people on South Section Street that they're not having lights in front of their businesses.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Oh, it's a
I see him at the
More
gym.
than the cigar shop. It's
Okay,
been more than that.
okay, I was about to say, I see him
They're
at the
right to
gym
complain
every
about it.
morning.
They're absolutely right to complain about it. They've been slighted down there.
Yes.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Well, this is probably more a question for Mayor, but I do believe we're going, Morphe to Oak, what we normally do to City
So they
Hall.
will go to more.
Morphe, that covers it.
And then we usually go to the library and down to Church Street. Is that correct? Okay. Am I missing anything? Well, yeah, Church Street. Again, some of the trees that you probably may get complaints from might be on private property, so that's also a factor. But, yeah, I know who you're talking about, and I hear his complaints, too.
Yes, I get beat up pretty bad there. The
So,
reason I asked the question about the density of the lights was if it prompted us to only do 2/3 of the street, I'd rather put 1/3 less and go another third of the street. That's why I asked that question. I wanted to try to maximize the lights.
And I think
To
they're,
some degree. Without them looking like a Charlie Brown tree.
That's what I'm.
yeah, I think they're going to the wrapping versus the netting. I don't think we're going to be netting any, or are we going to net some still?
We are not netting any lights.
Okay, we're not netting any lights. We are wrapping all lights.
I think I made myself perfectly clear on this.
So,
Is there a virus or something in the netting that I don't know
I keep
about?
looking at Ben. I should also look at Ben.
Did we have a bad experience with netting? I'm sorry.
It doesn't look, it doesn't.
Well, and I say netting, it's not that they're netted lights. They are in a net, they look
Look like a net.
correct,
Yeah.
yes.
I got you.
They're very clear on my.
Okay.
I'm gonna, since you mentioned the parameters, I think I had somebody reach out to me last year and ask about just one or two businesses past Morphe, and they're wondering if there's any possibility for
But
that.
that, so Jimmy, it seems like it's gonna keep, like,
It could keep
you know,
creeping.
it's gonna keep, you know,
It could keep creeping, I
yeah.
mean.
They should have started with the city.
Well, I've had, for instance, the Methodist Church ask me if they purchase the lights, would the city partner with them and install them?
We don't have time.
Yeah,
I mean, if we are right up until the tree.
we really are.
By the time you trim, because they're starting September trimming trees and getting the lights ordered, I mean, we are pushed right up into the time. I'm serious, I'm just saying logistically, it's almost impossible not unless we started doing that in August. And then, I mean, that's a long time, then plus you have to take all the time to take the day.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
All right, council, are y'all good with the lights? We're gonna, thank you, Ms. Crawford.
Very good.
Yes, ma'am. Who's up?
Good evening.
Hey, Darrell.
Howdy.
Good evening, sir.
So I've got 4 items. I've got 16, 17, 18, and 19. Let's go with, we'll start with 16. This is for on-call professional engineering services for the mayor to select Dewberry Engineering. And this is for if we have an absolute emergency, we need some engineering done on it to proceed, that we would contract through them. And this would be for under $100,000 for next budget year.
So this is the 150K watts, is that one? Is this for electric?
No, I'm sorry,
Oh,
this is number 16.
Number 16, all right. Oh, on-call engineer, okay, very good. Okay.
So the next 3, 17, 18, and 19, those are all budgeted items, and these are pumps and parts we need for the wastewater treatment plant. Like I said, they're all budgeted, they're all sole source, they're very specific pieces of equipment. We'd start with 17 is a Gorman Rump pump. It's a RAS pump, return activated sludge pump, that we need to install to improve the efficiency of the wastewater treatment plant for $29,765. Number 18 is for the scraper for the clarifier. It's the one on the south, the one closest to the cemetery. This is to replace the scrapers. They're due, they've kind of been repaired over and over again, and it's just time for some new ones.
Yep, good job, Darrell, that one's under budget.
Yep.
Yeah, great job, buddy.
And number 19 is a flight pump for our submersible pump for the anoxic zone for the VLR.
Okay.
Have any questions on those? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. I got item 21, I guess in my best Richard Johnson voice, it's budgeted and under budget. So it's our annual leak survey. Pretty straightforward, came in $15,000 under budget.
Job, buddy.
So it's just some housekeeping things to do in gas department.
Yeah, it's standard.
Yes, sir.
Yep, thank you, Wes.
Yep.
Great job. Our friend. All right. Yes, sir.
Evening, council. So, let's see.
20?
20, got 20.
Yes, sir.
This follows up on Darrell's, the Restore Act. This is not a budgeted item, but this is for the transformers that's going to feed the lift stations in our service area. That'd be 4 with 1 spare of each size to go on the lot.
So Ben,
Yes, sir.
when we do this, now, I know it's clear, we're not getting refunded on this in the
That's right.
Restore Act, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
I called Andy today.
Yes, right.
He
Okay. But when we do this, we'll have continuity of care, meaning that when something goes bad, we can fix it now ourselves instead of,
We can actually, and I've been working with Daryl on this, we can actually keep certain motors in stock that are same voltage, same size, and that way they can just go to the shop, get a motor, come out, replace it, instead of having to try to find somebody to come out, work on site,
that's right.
or just having a little more, really just reliability and redundancy in the sewer system.
Right.
To get it
Very
up
good.
going quicker.
This is part of the $1 million restore grant that we have, to replace, to put generators on lift stations.
Yes. But the problem is that this particular component of the grant does not cover electrical components, so.
Andy
but it's
said
something that we need to
anything
do.
on electrical infrastructure, it was not
Right,
written
it was
in
not
that
written in
grant
there,
to-
right,
to upgrade.
unfortunately.
Right.
Okay,
And
very
these-
good.
These things have pretty good lead times on them. This was a quicker lead time.
Yeah. And these things are probably, what, 35 weeks out or so?
These are, yes, sir.
Yeah.
There's some around 96 to 97 weeks out, and then some people won't even quote just because they don't want a 2-year wait.
You're right. So Kim, are we good, since it's so far out? We've done the numbers?
Yes.
Okay,
So we're gonna have this in the budget for water department and for the infrastructure that's needed. The extra transformer that's gonna be in the yard that should be covered inventory.
right,
Because we can pull that for anything across this system.
very good.
But yes.
That was the answer I was looking for.
See, probably the emails that went back and forth between us was to make sure that we coded in the budget.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Ms. Ham. Thank you. Any
Anything
questions,
from me?
council, any questions at this point?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Number 6 is a final adoption. You know about that one. Who has number 8? Did we cover number 8? Oh, that's the maintenance agreement? Yeah, okay. We canceled number 7. 23, who has 23? Let's see, what is this?
Jack
Oh, that's
talked
what we're
about
talking
that,
about. Yeah, so this is us, Jack.
Yep, and I'm trying to pull up the email from Marcus. My computer has decided apparently to do a major upgrade, and I have a little difficulty here.
So I think what we really was trying to figure out, the liability and the insurance portions of it.
Yeah, well, we just need to make sure that everything that we thought was in there did get put in there. I just wanted to go over that one more time.
Counselor, you wrote this, right? This is-
I made some changes. I don't know what version Jack's got.
Yeah, I saw changes in green. Was that the changes in green?
And then I pulled some of those out and made some additional changes.
We didn't get that. I don't think we got any additional. I saw the green.
There was one that I sent.
So I tell you what, we don't have to, this is not Jack, do we have to rush into this? or-
Well, no, but I mean, it's 10 after 5. I mean, you want to go straight into the meeting now or something?
I really do, because we have an executive. But I'm saying, since we don't know if we had it written correctly, are we going to try to write it correctly in the work session today, is what we're trying to do?
I was just going to look it over, see if we were ready.
There's an indemnity and hold harmless provision that I added into it. And also suggested a personal guarantee for corporate holder of the lease.
How do you do that? What does that look like, Marcus?
The only difference would be you take the, like the first sentence of the indemnity, you say, I blank personally and on behalf of the lessor, which would be the corporation, hereby covenant with the city. And then there's a spot in the bottom that says that means anything that happens there, they're liable for. Of course, you go after the insurance first, but it's,
Do you add that to the contract then? Do they have to, I mean, does that change the contract as well?
it would be on the indemnity agreement with regard to the lift, in addition for the lift.
Okay,
Well,
so
we
we have
talked
to
about-
have that agreement, okay. With regards to a lift, we have to have that indemnity agreement, and it would be, the guarantor would be on that agreement?
Yeah, the guarantor would be on that agreement. You don't have to have it, it's just a suggestion, because in the past, we've had situations where folks will have, yeah, here's an insurance copy, and then 2 months later, they'll go, they're out. And if you've got a corporation that's leasing it and built the lift, and like you said with the fire, it could be a problem, because all of a sudden you're sitting there with no telling how much damage is done by a fire, other event. They just abandon the boat. And I'm not saying that's gonna happen. We've had issues, but not with nicer boats that are probably gonna be going in there. It's a risk that you got.
I don't have a problem with CYA and layering it. I mean, we talked about this. I
If they
have no
have a
problem.
$500,000 liability policy,
As if they've got it at the time of an accident. You sign a year lease and you say, here's my policy, and then go cancel it 30 days later. It's not like, banks will check on it every month, or the insurance company notifies them that they've canceled it. Again, it's just a suggestion on there that
So this would all slips be eligible to have somebody out of lift, or just the ones that are right?
No, they will identify certain ones.
there's a limited number, and it'd be
Yeah.
subject to approval by the marina.
But
manager.
in theory, if you rent, or if you lease an approved slip, you could pay to have a lift installed, but not be allowed to be removed, right? Once the lift
Correct.
is
No,
there.
once it's put in, it's
Is
property of the
there,
city.
and you can lease it as long as, I guess as long as our
You would probably
lease
want
contract
to lease
allows.
it until you
Well, I'm
get your
sure
investment back.
Well, that was my
Yeah,
thought, is
to
I
be
think
honest.
people
Yeah,
would
you
want
can't take it
to,
with you if
You
you leave
can't-
early.
Yeah, so you would
Right.
want to lease it.
people would want to stay there and
Yes.
lease it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm wondering, you got individuals that'll lease these, say, not in a corporation, and they have insurance.
if it's individual, they're liable for it anyway. If
He's
it's
just
an
saying so they
individual
couldn't
got a
put it
lease on it, they're
lease
liable personally
corporate
for it anyway.
bypass
With
that.
indemnity provision on there, even without a personal guarantee, because they're personally on the lease. That's where your indemnity is gonna come in.
So it's only applicable if somebody has it in the name of a business.
The personal,
The
the
installer.
additional of a personal guarantee would only be if they've got it in the name of a corporation. Boat's a name of a corporation, lease a name of a corporation.
We get that, okay, so that's good. I say then what you said, Councilman Martin, let's just put it in there. They don't have to sign it, right? Let's do that. And then we had on the timeline for installing it, the draft had 7 days. Did we get that moved to 14?
We did, he changed it to 14 days for installation.
And we've got in there the provision, they have to install the pylons themselves.
Correct, not attached to ours.
All right, I'm trying to look at all my notes here, because I don't have that email.
The other thing that we talked about was you were saying there's an outside engineer, but one thing that we talked about is that our city engineer would have oversight just to make sure it meets our specs since we take it over, correct?
Right.
The only question that I had about that is just generally, I don't want to be I don't want the city to be a guarantor of the engineering specs, because it puts us on the hook in case something happens. The way that we did the indemnity says, you gotta have somebody inspect it. We can also have it be part of our
Right.
inspection, and then our internal process, but putting it in the lease where we're basically taking over as an additional engineer to guarantee the success or fail, this is not gonna fail under this load, because you never know what somebody's gonna put on one of those things. They could put, a 40,000-pound boat on a 20,000-pound lift, and somebody gets hurt.
Well, they have to do it, they have to have it installed by a licensed contractor, so
Yeah.
That's
that
why I'm
contractor's
thinking
reputation.
Their underlying engineer is gonna
Liability.
certify this is gonna be good, and then we can look at it and have our.
And see if it
engineer look at
meets
but
after the fact.
After the fact, right.
Yeah,
But
and that's
not-
how we-
Not be part of the agreement that shifts any liability.
Yeah, well, I think we're ready.
And that's how we have it written. That's how I read it.
If you take those, if you take the green part out with the engineer stuff on it, I think you're right. I gotta go back and look at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So right now-
Is the personal guarantor in there right now? That's the way it's written. You said you could have it or not
No,
have
sir,
it.
it was a suggestion that I made.
So can we make the resolution, Lisa, to add that, approve the rules and regulations with the addition of a personal guarantor per the suggestion of city attorney? Would that work?
But we also have to, we also have to add the layer of the language that speaks about our engineer as well. I think right now it reads that our engineer will look at the specs. I don't remember seeing any addition where it seems like we're in control of that when I read it.
Do we have Marcus look that up?
That's why I pulled it out in my last version.
Okay, so your last one has it pulled out. He's pulled it out.
Okay, so you did,
I
okay.
pulled it out.
All right, so this is not the last, all right, very good.
They still got to get their engineer, and it acknowledges, they acknowledge that they've got to have an engineer if it's applicable to use it. We're still looking at it from a standpoint of permitting, and our permitting process can look at it and go, hey, engineer, look at it, but it doesn't make us a guarantor of the quality of that, the steel used, any of those things that
Right,
are there.
I got you, very good. So,
That makes sense, because they're responsible for maintenance and upkeep of it as well.
Correct.
okay,
Okay.
all right, very good. So is it good enough to go through it tonight? Marcus, are you comfortable?
If you've
I mean,
seen that latest version of it, and that's what's before you, and then we add the issue on the indemnity clause that say, I blank personally and on behalf of the lessor hereby covenant with the city of Fairhope, that introductory portion of it, and then a signature line on the bottom, if we can add those, I think it's good to go.
I've got a note to amend that resolution to add the indemnity clause.
Add the personal guarantee on the indemnity.
Okay. Yeah, add the personal guarantee on the indemnity clause. Okay.
so, let's see, so what I have right, that says the city engineer's review. Hold on. This one reads, the city engineer's review will encompass an assessment of the proposed installation structural integrity, adherence to environmental regulations and compliance with electrical codes where it's applicable. It is imperative that the installation plan provide a detailed documentation, including engineering drawings. Okay, so he is reviewing another engineer's drawings. That's the way it reads right now. Including engineering drawings, specifications, and any necessary permits and certifications required by local authorities. That's what we have on our engineer right now. It's a review, is what it reads, that he would have to review it. Is that how we want it? Is that the final version? Because I don't want to leave that out either.
I didn't want, well, that's what I had the question about. That's why I took that portion out, but.
Okay, so
again,
this is out. Okay, so we
It's
removed that.
the last version that I sent. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Richard.
Were you waving at me or somebody else?
Oh, in fact, sorry.
Oh, well, then never
Oh,
mind.
oh, okay.
I'm excused.
Yeah.
You heard the word engineer, is that what it is?
Trying to defend his workload.
Yeah. No doubt. So that's removed. So let me get this, so that what I just read is removed at this point, correct? Is that what you want? Is that the way we want to write it?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Lisa, are you getting all of this?
I've got a clean copy for you, Lisa, and then I'll add with the one sentence with the indemnity.
Do we need to table it and get it right? Is there a right, I mean,
Lisa's got down things were changed.
so,
Lisa's got down that things were changed.
yeah.
We'll see later.
Jay, you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, is there any need to get this
Done tonight? Like, what's the rush? Because it's not clear. Yeah, I mean-
Somebody asking to put a boat lift in right now,
That's right.
within the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, okay, all right. So let's just get it right. Let's make sure we got it all written correctly since we put it out to the public already. That's right. And let's table this one until we get all the information that we need. And then we'll come back. We'll just clean it up and we'll come back to it. I think everybody's okay with it. I just don't want to mess that up. All right, guys. All right. Executive session. Okay, guys. All right, we're going to end our work session. We're going to end the work session. We're going to go right into and start our meeting. Is our city council meeting. Is Marshall here? Hey, Marshall, can you give us the invocation? We'll have an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. We'll get started.
Let's pray. Father, we just welcome you in this place, Lord. God, I pray just wisdom and anointing over the leaders that you have put into place, God. God, it says that you are with us in every moment. And so, God, we just ask for just divine wisdom because at the end of the day, we love your people, Lord. And so I pray for direction to love your people wisely. God, just thank you for just all the blessings you've given this city, this area, Lord. God, I pray that all of it brings you glory in many ways, God. So, God, again, we ask for your direction, your hand over the authority you have put in place, God. God, help us be the men and women of God you called us to be. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I have something I'm going to read here, guys. Executive session, if I have it. Thank you, sir. Yeah. All right. As the city attorney, I, Marcus E. McDowell, I hereby request the Fairhope City Council to go into executive session based on the Alabama Code 3625A7, discuss the legal ramifications and legal options for pending litigation, controversial not yet being litigated, but imminently likely to be litigated or imminently likely to be litigated if the governmental body pursues a proposed course of action. As a city attorney, I hereby request that the city council of the city of Fairhope rise from a regular city council meeting on Monday, July 22nd, 2024, to go into executive session. The city council shall be in executive session for approximately 30 to 40 minutes. At the end of the executive session, the city council shall return to the city council chambers to resume the regular city council meeting. If I can get a motion, guys, to go into.
Quick question, though.
Yes, sir.
Do we need to amend the agenda to move that? I want to make a motion to amend the agenda to move the executive session to item 1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion
Make a
carries.
motion to go into executive session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries.